I hope you're clear with the objectives of sales territory designing. Now let's move and understand what are those critical factors you need to be aware of, you need to take care of while you design a territory. Again, we need to spend considerable amount of time to understand exactly how we can do this process, because I think it's highly practical. When you go to the field, when you interact in the market space, this territory designing is a hugely relevant one for you, because it's going to be a practical, kind of a real life practical sales situation. How do you decide your sales territory? What are the stages to be, you have to go through? Now let's see where it starts. So please be careful, please be patient while you listen these points. First of all, you need to divide the whole market into various basic control units. So what do you mean by this basic control units? Probably you can say that the entire market is divided as units which are like, if you take the case of Kerala as a state, you can divide the entire Kerala state into 14 different districts. So you have a unit, a district wise unit. Then again, these districts can be further divided into various prominent cities within that district. Again, you're getting a different unit, a basic control units. So you have to generate basic control units like this for the product that you are trying to generate sales territory in the Kerala market. Let's take the case of an example. For example, if it's a pharmaceutical company and if they want to design a territory for their executive, imagine if they divide the entire Kerala state into 14 different districts, and they're again dividing this entire districts into various cities. What they have to do is basically trying to understand the magnitude of these different units. So that will happen in the second stage of this process. Determine sales potential in each unit. So each unit has its own sales potential. For example, if you divide the 14 districts into different cities, or if you take the case of this district itself, if you consider this district as your control unit, where this pharmaceutical company is trying to measure the size of the sales, the potential sales which each district can generate. I mean, for example, Wayanad is a district, Kochi is a district, Calicut is a district, Trivandrum is a district. So when you come up with information about the sales potential from each and every 14 districts of Kerala, you're getting a different picture at all. I mean, you can't always compare the result that you're getting. The sales potential that you're getting from Wayanad is going to be equal to the number of sales you're going to get from Kochi or Trivandrum. The units are not properly balanced. As we all know, if your decision is to visit various hospitals and interact with various doctors, the number of doctors and the number of hospitals are very very less in Wayanad as compared to any other districts. So that is going to act as a platform for you to decide how your territory should be. When you decide a territory in Kerala, these are the two aspects you need to take care of in your very early stage. Select basic control unit, then determine sales potential in each unit. For example, if you divide again this district into various cities, so each city is different in terms of its sales potential. So understand that first of all. Once you understand that, you can create your basic territory. That basic territory is going to be a much more balanced one in terms of its sales volume, in terms of the number of customers. For example, the case was about, if the case was about the hospitals or the pharmaceutical company, when you decide your territory, each and every territory is consisting of equal number of hospitals, equal number of doctors, and probably equal number of sales volume through which they can generate the amount of transactions for this pharmaceutical company. So these are the first three stages: basic control unit, sales potential in each unit, basic territories has to be designed. Then the fourth one is, once you decide your basic territories, you need to assign people to each of these territories. Sales people are given the responsibility. Now again, you need to consider a few aspects here, because if you are assigning a person and he is supposed to work in Kochi, and another person, if he's supposed to work in a different territory where it is, Wayanad and Calicut together, or Wayanad and to a certain portion of Calicut together. So both are going to work in two extremely different areas. One is a metropolitan city like Kochi, where Wayanad and Calicut, a portion of Calicut is not going to be like that. It's a much smaller city, whereas the Kochi is a much modern city. So when you select people and when you assign people to different territories, you need to consider the capacity of a person, the experience of a person. Sometimes you may not be able to provide, assign a job to a fresher to a city like Kochi, where the hospitals are much more established, the doctors are much more experienced. So you need to have better people, better experienced people to deal with such hospitals and doctors, and that's probably Kochi like a city. But when it comes to Wayanad, you can probably depend a person who's just a fresher. He can manage his territory. Later, he will gather much more experience, and he can be assigned for further, better responsibilities in his future career. So that's what again you have to think. People's attitude has to be considered. People's, the sales executives. Interest for traveling has to be considered, and a lot of other points to be considered when you assign salespeople to territories. Now, once you assign people to various territories, it's about how do you generate a customer contact plan, how do you create sales, or how do you meet people, how do you reach to customer, and how do you interact with the customer. It's very, very important in terms of having a control of your territory, because there are going to be different types of contact plans that you can see. For an FMCG product, the customer contact plan would be like, you have a group of wholesalers, distributors, retailers. As an executive, you may not be able to visit hundreds of your retail outlets every day. Sometimes your job is to meet only distributors, sometimes your job is only to meet dealers, and later at a point of time you may think, okay, let me go to visit a few retail outlets. So that would be the pattern a executive may be adopting in the case of an FMCG product. But in the case of a pharmaceutical company, the case is entirely different. He has to go through various hospitals which is located in his particular territory, where he has to meet the doctors of each hospital, where that's going to be much more focused. He knows which is the territory he is going to operate for a particular day, and how many hospitals are located there, how many doctors can be seen, how many sales calls can be done in a particular day. So it cannot be possible in the case of an FMCG product. Again, when it comes to an insurance service, again it's highly flexible. In the case of an insurance service or an investment service, you can't have a concrete plan, because you do not know when you're going to get a prospective customer, when you're going to get a good customer. So you have to wait for the customer's call, and sometimes you have to generate fresh calls. It's completely unpredictable in the case of an insurance or an investment kind of a business, sales business. You need to design whom to be met in the next day. You're not at all planned, as in the case of a hospital or in the case of a pharmaceutical product. So this customer contact plan, again, theoretically we can say that there are few methods are followed. One is like a straight route plan can be done. Straight route plan, I'll give you the detailed notes very soon, probably after the lockdown and everything finished. The straight route plan is nothing but you make a plan for every day. You start from your office, you start from the place where you located, then you go to one direction. You can complete the entire number of customers, entire number of people in your journey. So you finish your territory, you can come back. There is absolutely no disturbance at all. Your customers are located in a particular direction, you go straight, meet everyone, come back to your office. This is straight route plan. Where another kind of a plan is like clover leaf pattern, the clover leaf pattern, which is something like your dealers or distributors or customers, they are located at different parts of your territory. For example, they are all located in a few cities. In Calicut itself, you can say that, okay, few customers are located in Tamarasheri, or few, talking about few dealers are located at Tamarasheri, few dealers are located at Perampra, few dealers are located at Ramanatagara. These are the kind of people you are supposed to meet. So when you design your contact plan, first you may be traveling on a particular day, you may be traveling to Tamarashri, you are able to meet all those people located there. You come back to your office, next day you're planning to a trip to Perabra, then you meet the customer again, you're coming back for the next day, you're going to meet another group of people in a different place. This is how you operate in the case of a clover leaf pattern. So why we need to have all these patterns? I mean, again, one more plan is that if you're located in a metropolitan city, if you're operating in an urban city, where the plan is again different, because your city is crowded, your city traveling is little difficult as compared to other ways of traveling, so you need to plan accordingly. So major city plan, routing plan would be another different case. So why do we require this customer contact plan? Because it actually gives you better market coverage. It actually ensures that you're able to cover the entire territory. You're able to meet each and every customer if you have a specific preparation about your customer contact plan. So this is how this territory designing is done. This is how the territory approach is being adopted by an executive. If he has a concrete idea about how he decides the basic control unit, or the stages in which the territory is designed, and if finally, if he has a better plan, if he has a clear plan how to contact his customer, so that he can reduce the expenses, he can reduce the effort which is coming out from him, because he doesn't want to travel too much. I mean, he understands, on the way to a particular territory or a region or a boundary, how many customers can be met, how many dealers can be met, how many distributors can be met. If he has a better plan to contact a customer, that will minimize his effort, that will minimize his expenses, so that ultimately you are going to get better territorial informations. And finally, if you need to have any evaluation, if you feel that your territory design is not perfect, which means there are extra efforts are required from the side of the executive, there is extra expenses happening just because of not having a systematic scientific way of designing it, sometimes you may think for an evaluation. So once you evaluate, you will realize that there is a revision. You need to redesign the territory. The territory is having a problem right now. So how can you overcome that problem? This is again possible, because as I said in the beginning, there is every possibility. Every time you need to see that your territory needs changes. Territory needs improvement. Territory is always expected to be expanded. So in such a case, every time this revision is applicable to territory. So work out in this particular stages, as these stages are very, very critical in terms of designing your territory. So hopefully, I think I've covered few critical aspects in sales territory so far. We started talking about the discussion, the definition of sales territory, when we looked at few elements or few questions which are relevant for an executive, for a sales team to be answered. And then the previous part of the discussion was about why is it important, what is the purpose of having sales territory, and at the last part of this presentation was about the factors that you need to consider while you design a sales territory. Hope it was clear to you. And as I used to say in the classroom, that these are practical real life sales cases which you need to handle everyday sales real situations. So try to understand it more in a practical way. And for the exam point of view, these slides would be much beneficial for you. I'll give you much detailed notes after this, so that will be sent to you. So please go through the content, please listen patiently, and try to have a practical understanding about what we have discussed related to sales territory. Thank you.